This is Tim Allen for QSPNLive.com. I'm reporting from the Philipsburg Town Hall, where just minutes ago, Philipsburg Mayor Brett Hamilton resigned as mayor via a letter that was given to Daniel Reddish, Councilman Daniel Reddish. He read that letter to the council, and we are going to play the entirety of that message following right now, and you'll get to see exactly what was said, and you'll also see that President of the Council, Julian Ritchie, made a motion to open the floor for nominations. He recommended Reddish. John Johnson, Councilman, motioned that he be voted in as mayor, and then a second was made, discussion happened, and Reddish was voted in as mayor, as interim mayor. Daniel Reddish is now the interim mayor of Philipsburg, Montana. And so we'll have more on this story, but right now you're going to get to see that opening part of the session tonight, and then tomorrow or possibly Thursday, we will have the entire working session put online for you to see from the Philipsburg Town Council.
Okay, this is Philipsburg Town Council work session meeting, December 19th, 2017. I'm Julian Ritchie, and all council members are present. And I would like to start this meeting out by yielding the floor to Daniel Reddish, who would like to read a message.
Good evening, everyone. To the town of Philipsburg and Town Council, I, Brett Hamilton, resign from the position of mayor effective Wednesday, December 13th, 2017 at 9 a.m. Sincerely, Brett Hamilton. It's obvious on the face of it what's going on here. The mayor has resigned. I don't want to elaborate on this into reasons and this and that. And I'm sure I speak for the entire council when I say that we wish the best for former Mayor Hamilton and his family, and we hope that he's able to pull forward in his life and overcome some of life's pitfalls, if you will. So I yield the floor back to Councilman Ritchie here to proceed.
Okay, so with this being the circumstance, we now have a position open for the mayor. And so I would like to recommend, as the council president, that Daniel Reddish be elected, or appointed, excuse me, to this position to fill as the interim mayor until the next election. And I'd like to open that for discussion to the council.
Acting Mayor.
Yes.
Are we able to make a motion as such this evening? I'd like to make that motion.
Any discussion?
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. So be it. Congratulations, Mr. Councilman, now Mayor. I'm going to yield the floor to you, and you can continue the meeting.
I've been around for approximately 6 years now on this council, and so I never considered this position. This wasn't my intent to enter into this position, but times and circumstances change. So here I am, and I want everyone to know that I respect the position, and it's an honor to sit here, even if on a temporary basis. We'll see what the future holds. But what I do have for you are some opening comments. I'd like to read that I thought about when the possibility of this happening. So I wrote down my perspective and in terms of starting out in a new format here with respect to how things have been working out in town. So I'd like to read the text here, if I may. For those folks in the town of Philipsburg who are of the opinion that our town government is a mess, you are absolutely correct. A very important portion of it is working its way through a huge mess. It may not be what you think. As most of our citizens are aware, our town has ongoing challenges with our sewer, water, and overall infrastructure concerns. No one knows this better than myself. I have been Sewer and Water Committee Chair for over 4 years now. In that capacity, I would like to take this opportunity to list some of the accomplishments and progress that have been made moving forward. 90% of my time and energy that has been spent in my position on the council has been focused on infrastructure. This has been augmented by a dedicated and tenacious public works director and a smart, versatile crew that have to think on their feet every day to make it all work. In the last 3 years, over 4,500 feet of new water main has been installed. The town is overseeing the design, building, and completion of $1.2 million UV purification plant, which began operating a year ago last fall. This represents 2 years of solid organization and focus, the town itself acting as the general contractor. Councilman Ritchie and former Mayor Hamilton played an active role in helping to push this project across the finish line. 6 new hydrants, in addition to 6 new manhole extensions, have been installed. A new pressure-reducing station has been put online, and in that process, 6 new rebuilt pressure-reducing valves were installed. Engineering estimates at the time were upwards of $300,000. We did it for $30,000. 160 feet of new culvert has been installed. New magnesium chloride distributor was purchased, installed, and was put to use this past summer. The securing of a state intercap loan to finance installation of a new 2,500-foot outfall line leading to our sewer lagoons was completed last year, well under budget, I might add. Late this year, we were able to create, through slashing and logging, a needed access corridor, which has given the town the ability to reach upwards of 50% of the 7-mile-long Threadbare water line for maintenance, emergency, and eventual replacement. This water line represents the umbilical cord of our town, providing over 80% of the water we use. We are now starting to focus on reconditioning and upgrading our sewer lagoons. There are thousands of hours of anticipated oversight and coordination that will be required over the next 5 to 7 years. I believe that I'm able to demonstrate objectively that things are getting incrementally better in this portion of our local government, acknowledging that there remains in front of us a couple of decades worth of work. Even considering all the practical problems and potential catastrophes that exist in our infrastructure and the delivery of its services to our citizens, this is inherently not where the problem is. The real crisis lies in a huge gaping hole of administrative oversight. The importance of this cannot be minimized. In 6 years, we have felt the effect of 3 different mayors, and get this, 17 different council members. As the saying goes, this is no way to run a railroad. With the recent resignation of Mayor Hamilton, it has become apparent that we could be entering a period of potential administrative meltdown. We must now navigate the unwinding, where dramatic actions will need to be taken to rectify many years of administrative neglect. The town will be under pressure for potentially new and expanded administrative orders. There are also going to be financial obligations to state regulatory agencies in the form of fines for such things as being non-responsive to state inquiries in a prompt manner. We have begun the process of dealing with fees and penalties on filings that cross the gambit of responsibilities, including annual financial reports and state retirement funds reporting. This is not a recent phenomenon. This has been building for years, borne out by the fact that we had to pay an additional $15,000 added to the cost of our annual audit in order to square monthly cash reconciliation, which up until last year had not occurred in over a decade. This needs to be addressed, and addressed now. I do not want to place blame on individuals who have held the position in mayor in recent years for lack of coherent professional administrative oversight. Still, nonetheless, our clerks are treading water. They don't need a life preserver. They need a boss, a real boss. Such is obvious thanklessness of the elected position that we're in today. We have to step up. There's enough blame to go around. This is everywhere, and people can participate or not participate. This was recently demonstrated by the fact that last November we held no local elections because there were literally no challengers on the ballot. There's enough blame to go around, as I said, recently, I would indicate to you that there's a fundamental culpability with the voting public. There is no one that participates. We didn't have an election. The position of mayor as chief executive and administrative responsibility, which the job entails, needs to be seriously defined, recognized, and appropriately compensated. The days of treating the position like a hobby or a person deciding to do it because their buddies suggested to them in order to potentially gain some favor or backdoor effect on policy is over. Handing the position off to the next person who does not really want the job, and I do emphasize the word job, is no longer even a temporary fix. There is too much to do and too much at stake. I yield the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Reddish. Okay.
I would like to take this opportunity, if I may, to open the floor for a couple of moments to any public comment.
Let's do that.
Well, I would like to make a comment. Thank you. Thank you for stepping up and taking this. Thank you for helping us to understand the dilemma that we're in. I was almost expecting to hear the promotion of the city manager in there, but I'm worried. I'm worried about what you said.
I will tell you that now that we have accomplished quite a bit in terms of addressing these things in the last short time period because they need to be addressed. And so to the degree that I'm able to affect that in this position, we will get this taken care of and we'll move forward. And then we'll address the things we need to address in a timely fashion.
I really wish that the story of what you have been able to accomplish as a council was told more broadly. I wish it was covered more. I wish we had somebody here to cover this. We have somebody
That
here.
is correct.
But I mean, I wish we had somebody who is, our mass media, because I think that the accomplishments that you have made here in terms of the sewer and the water go mainly unknown.
Dennis, yeah, actually, what you're saying right now, I had a conversation at one point with Councilman Johnson, and I was bringing some of these things up, and he said the same thing as you. Why didn't we ever hear about any of this? And I'd like to just say something to that. When you find yourself sitting here, and suddenly you're sitting in the hot seat of issues that you had no idea were even here, it's very scary because suddenly you're responsible for that. And it doesn't matter who started it, it doesn't matter where or when, it's just that you're the one sitting here right now. And at that time, and specifically speaking to the LT2 project, we didn't want to cause public panic. And we have been doing research over the last 3 years on how to communicate properly with the public via a beta test web portal, okay? So, and now you see the existence of QSPN. And I have made it my platform communication with the community so that the community and the local government can interact and be on the same page, which...
And I hope that certainly, this is good coverage, and I hope that people will see this. But I just want to say, for the years that I've sat out here, I notice your work. I notice your work from especially the last 4 or 5 years. Your work has been absolutely stellar. Thank you, and I thank you very much because you're doing it, and I'm watching you do it, and I get encouraged from time to time to get up there and help you do it. And I can tell you I would give some serious thought to that in the future. But I just really appreciate, Mr. Mayor, you stating what you did. It's on all of us, and we have to step up. we have to encourage one another to step up and to join the effort. So I'll just say thank you once again.
Also, you know, it helps when people come here and sit through the meetings. Yeah, they can be a little bit seemingly boring, but there's a lot of important information that's being discussed about your community. And the more public involvement we have, the better choices we're able to make for the entire constituency. Because we know what you're saying, we know your input, and we really want to know. Because this is a new era for Philipsburg and a change in local government. And it's now that we all step up to the plate and make it happen. Is there any other comments? Okay, then we are going to continue.